Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our, I think, the 9th parent hour. Let me try to mute everybody again. If you can hear me and see the slides, let me know in the chat box. Yeah. It's just wait, people trying. Are we muted? Hey, Jamie, can you hear us? I can see you.
Can you send something in the chat?
Here, Matt, this is your training on the. All right.
Here we go.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. So we have a slew of people here tonight with us. Just remember the business. Everybody's muted just for the sake of the background noise. We decided you don't want to see us in our comfy clothes, probably. And tonight's focus really is on looking ahead. So a lot of the first year is surviving and getting to the next day or getting through the next week. And now that we're, 5 weeks into the second semester, a lot of questions are starting to come up about how to really make the most of this and how to thrive instead of just survive here. So tonight's focus is on study abroad and also looking for internships and other career opportunities. So we have folks from the International Studies Center and also our Career and Professional Development Center tonight, and a bunch of students who I'll let introduce themselves as we go through the presentation. So you asked for more student perspective, which I think is great, and also something about getting jobs, getting internships, and we thought study abroad would be a good fit for this session as well. So any questions, problems, anything, please pop them in the chat. We'll be watching that and glad to get started. All right, so Nicole, take it away.
So hi everyone, my name is Nicole Kirker-Stewart. I'm director of the International Center. And you can kind of see up here, we're going to do kind of a brief rundown about study abroad, the benefits, where students can go, eligibility, costs. I know that's a concern for many people. Program options, look at some of the challenges, and then some of the upcoming events for the rest of this semester that your students can attend. So some of the benefits, and we like to start off by saying that in nationwide, only 10% of U.S. college students study abroad. So going in any capacity will really set your student apart, whether it's for a future career or for graduate school. And then, of course, there's the other benefits of travel opportunities and language acquisition, among others. This is just a sampling of some of the skills that students have reported gaining while abroad. And you can see that a lot of these are very, very transferable regardless of the profession that your student plans to go into. Things like empathy, cultural awareness, budget planning, adaptability, all really useful skills. And I thought it might be helpful to hear kind of from students in their own words who've studied abroad. So this is a direct quote from Oliver, who's a marketing major and went to Paris. And I'll just read it in case you can't see this on your home computer. So Oliver says, I already loved the French food I had tried before, but I was able to try so much more, much of it home cooked by my host mom. Living with a host family allowed me to experience the culture more than I otherwise would have. It was great to meet French and other international students. I wish I had spent more time with them instead of other Americans. I'm going to skip the French here because I don't speak French, but he said he also learned the French language. That is one skill I hope to keep developing and practicing and even go back to live in France someday. So as you can see from Oliver, living with a host family is one of the options when students are abroad. It's one of the best ways to kind of learn the culture and also to acquire a language. Another one of our students, Tessa, went to London. She's a communications major, and she had to say that study abroad really opened my mind to the world and gave me a global perspective on everything. In general, I feel like I grew so much during my time abroad through meeting new people and especially my internships. It taught me about the type of place I can see myself living in the future, and it taught me how valuable experiences can be. The internship is something I'll look back on for the rest of my life, and having a recommendation from an employer abroad will really be valuable professionally. So again, it just kind of highlights not only the personal growth that happens from an experience abroad, but also the professional network and connections that students make. And then Cody, who is a marketing major who spent a semester in Rome, throughout the interviewing process for 5 internships over the summer fall, all the interviewers' first questions were about study abroad. Being able to speak to independence, adaptability, and appreciation for different outlooks is just one of the many reasons study abroad has helped me grow as a person and become a high-value differentiator on my resume. So again, Cody went into his job interviews not really expecting study abroad to play a big role, and in fact, all of the interviewers asked that question. It just sets students apart. So in terms of where students can go, we kind of have programs all over the world. And let me go to the next slide here. Some of the requirements, so again, minimum 2.5 GPA and no current judicial or financial sanctions. If your student doesn't meet one of those requirements, we do have a petition process, so they're welcome to talk with us in the office. First year students need to have completed their first year, so this is a great time to be talking about this as they look ahead to sophomore, junior, or even senior year. Depending on the major, your student's academic advisor will recommend when the student should go, and we base it off that. And we also have some short-term options available I'll talk about in a few minutes. Anywhere that students go on a semester, they get to bring back the credits that they earn, come right back on the transcript, and so do the grades. So before the students even leave, they work with their advisor to get the courses pre-approved, and we do that to make sure the students stay on track for graduation.
So Nicole, I know we have, just based on who's been on the calls before, lots of families in Hart and other majors that are really structured, that students might be reluctant to go because they're worried about getting behind or not being able to get what they have to academically. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so we do have some restricted majors here. Most students can study abroad. There are a few majors where the semester doesn't work out academically. So if that is the case with your student, we recommend going on a short-term program. That could be winter break, spring break, or a summer term. And those are also great options where you can study, you can intern, you can volunteer. If your student is an art student, every few years, one of our professors, Jeremiah Patterson, takes a group to Cortona for a semester, and that's a really great option because the student can get away but still take courses from their Hartford professor on site. In terms of deadlines, so we're coming up on semester deadlines for this upcoming fall. It's March 15th. Spring semester, of course, is not till October. The short-term programs, we did just complete our summer recruitment, but we do have a few programs still open. So if you have students who are looking to go abroad this summer, they can certainly talk with us this week. We do have some options. And a few words about cost. So anywhere a student goes on semester, they're going to continue to pay University of Hartford tuition. So the really nice benefit of this is that any scholarships or financial aid that they're currently receiving from the university transfer right over. So it can in fact be more affordable to spend a semester abroad than on campus, depending on the housing options and the location. Short-term programs, the fees range widely, and we do have some very generous University of Hartford scholarships that are available only to our students, and about 70% of the students that applied in this past cycle were given a scholarship. And again, external scholarships, we work with companies that provide study abroad programs, and they also offer many scholarship options to students. I alluded to this briefly a moment ago, but sometimes we call it education abroad rather than study abroad. And that's because students can do a variety of activities and they can combine any of these activities. So there's the traditional semester a year abroad that I think many of us think of when we think of study abroad. Students can also conduct research, they can intern, service learning, and volunteer, or a combination thereof, and then the short-term programs, which again, typically go over winter break, summer break, or spring break. This is just a sampling of the programs we're sending abroad this year. These are short-term programs. And these programs are really excellent for students that might not be able to get away for a full semester, whether because they're in a restrictive major or they have family commitments or maybe a job that they're not willing to walk away from for a semester. So you see, we send students all over. A lot of these courses are open to students in all majors. Some of them are major specific. So again, if they're looking for more information, they can talk with our office. And also on our Hartford website, under academics, study abroad, you can see the details for all of these. And we also like to say a few words about the obstacles. So again, I've mentioned some of these, but it's the best advice we can give is to talk with your students, figure out, what is the best program. Maybe there's a family responsibility, cost is a concern for most of us, a job obligation. Students who are really involved on campus might be hesitant to go away, to leave maybe a leadership position in the club or organization. Often in those cases, we've seen that organization is willing to welcome them back, or they come back in a different capacity, a different leadership capacity. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the student can't go, but these are just all things to consider when students are thinking about a program. And then psychological, emotional, or physical concerns. Program standards are going to be different abroad than in the US, but as long as we are aware of any accommodations that might be helpful in advance, 9 times out of 10 we can make sure to accommodate. We do have several students who have studied abroad and returned. They're study abroad alumni who volunteer their time to talk with students interested in going abroad. And we just put a sampling up here. So we've got Abby, who's a health science major, and she spent a semester in Sydney, Australia. We've got Allie, you can see painting, double major, education and art history, and she did both. So she participated in a short-term program over spring break, and then also spent a semester in Cortona, Italy, which is the program I was mentioning where our professor leads students abroad. And then Kobe, on the right, an architecture student who spent a semester in Florence. That program also is run through a University of Hartford faculty member. So again, these are really great options, especially if your student is looking to still have that connection with Hartford while they're abroad. We're on social media, so we post our events and upcoming opportunities for students, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I also mentioned the website. So again, we're under academics, study abroad, and there's our contact information. And just to end, I wanted to highlight a few upcoming events. This Thursday is our study abroad fair. So we will have all of the program options available for students, and it's a drop-in thing. We'll have food, we'll have our study abroad vendors. It's a fun time in the GSU cafeteria, and alongside the study abroad fair is Passport Day. So if your student would like to apply for a passport, or maybe they need to renew a passport, if they bring their materials, they can do so right on campus during the same time slot. The session on the left, paying for study abroad, is very popular and also very practical. So we partner with a representative from financial aid to talk about opportunities for building a budget, what aid can transfer, when is the best time for students to go. So that's a great session if you're thinking about how to manage the cost of study abroad. Our next one's on March 3rd. And then we also have a study abroad lunch. And this is run by study abroad alumni. So students can come and just relax and have lunch with other peers who have done this and get kind of the true story behind it. So that's coming up tomorrow and then in April. Let's turn it over to Matt now.
Well, any students want to weigh in on their experience? Later. No. Okay. So this is a good time. Okay, Ivana.
Hi, so I went on the study abroad trip this past winter break to Kerala, India. It was a mix of a study abroad trip, but it was also a research trip. So my professor and my advisor, Dr. Catherine Owens, researches marine debris and plastic pollution. And she kind of just asked me like, hey, do you want to come to India with me on a research project? And we made a video for the National Geographic Society where we talked about marine debris cleanups and how to properly conduct cleanup. The video actually went out yesterday, but the overall research trip was, I learned so much in 10 days on that trip that I really can't equate it to anything else that I've done before.
I've never heard a student say that they regretted going abroad.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's definitely.
Did you go?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Do you
regret
regret not
not
going?
going.
There we go. Okay.
But I also think Ivana can attest to it. You have what, three majors? Two?
Yeah.
So I think she and as well as I can attest to the like the opportunities, even if you have a loaded course schedule. Because I'm double majoring in architecture and civil engineering. I never thought I'd be able to go on a study abroad trip, but there was one Pathways to Sustainability of Freiburg, Germany, for a spring break. So it was only a week, 7 days. But the experience was well worth it. And actually it's helping me graduate on time with the double major. So even with like a heavy course load, and if you don't think you can do it, you can definitely find a way. There's so many like opportunities out there, like research based or with a professor, that you can definitely do it. It's definitely worth it. You won't regret it.
You won't regret
No one,
it.
yeah.
And like Matt will be able to tell you, it also sets you apart or sets students apart on resumes and conversations with potential employers. And, just besides being a great experience, it really sets the students up for, the next step. So, all right,
Great.
Career Studio, Matt.
All right. Well, thanks, Justin. If I do forget anything, please nudge me along and I'll speak on that because that was a great point. Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Luckard-Lynn. I'm one of the assistant directors in our career professional development office. Right now, you're seeing a picture of our newly branded Career Studio, which is a transformational space intended to be able to switch from different styles of seating depending on what programs we're offering at the time. This picture shows our traditional seating style where we have more of a bistro setup where folks can come in and work with our student career peer mentors who were hired to work one-on-one with students to talk about cover letter skills and how to build your cover letter and what to look at with resumes and how to enhance your resumes. We found that a lot of our students in a national trend across the country in higher ed is really working with their peers first. It's less intimidating and they actually hear a lot of things that they might be hearing in their classes or whatnot. So they're actually relating on that peer-to-peer level. And we also have a full staff that we are also attainable if students need. So that's what you're looking at. And we also have lecture style that we can set up. We bring in employers into the studio, which we call takeover days. So we invite corporations and companies that we partner with to come and educate students on what their corporation or company does. And what the goal of these takeover days is to really educate students that might not have explored yet. A lot of our incoming students yet might have declared their major, but a lot of them might not. So we really want to give them as much information in the beginning so they can start exploring and realize that, okay, I don't have to know exactly what I want to be my first year of school. I can build on that as I move up to my senior year. So we really want students to come in and listen and learn about all these industries and hopes that maybe one of them will click and find a major that corresponds with that. On top of this, you see the sign that, we kind of did our presentation taking pictures of posters around the school because this is kind of the eyes of the student. Yes, you'll see, I'll end with a slide that gives you the link to our website. All of our programs and information is on our website. We keep that up to date. But we also try to get out there and advertise with some signage in our social media as well. But get yourself ready for the life you want is something that we have right at the front door when folks come in. We want students to realize that coming to the University of Hartford, we're going to work with you to set yourself apart. That we're here one-on-one to help guide you. We have a lot of resources at our fingertips that your students will have access to by being a member of the University of Hartford. They'll be able to take assessments, interest assessments, skills assessments, to hopefully fine-tune their skills and really help them navigate through the process. If they're great at interpersonal relationships, maybe we move in that area and look into building connections, what industries really require strong interpersonal skills. But then we also can switch into hard skills where they need math or engineering. So we really try to show the gamut, so to speak, so folks, we're not missing anything. Because, you know, with 5,000 students, we have a lot of different interests. And so we want to make sure that we provide information so that everyone can hopefully find their niche. And our goal that we are going to strive to every day and every year is that, you know, we want to make sure our students are finding internships and career placements that where they want to be. And so hopefully the Career Studio will be part of their journey over 4 years. A little history lesson, I've been actually at the university for 12 years. And so we've done some revamping of the career philosophy, and now we're partnering with, you know, student success. We really want to get our students into our department their first year, so they're starting to create their resume. We call that the Rat Master resume, and where they can start building it from skills that they learned through their high school or middle school, where they were babysitting or doing part-time jobs, because a lot of those definitely have skills, and we want to show how they can transfer and develop into other and stronger skills later on. And as they increase their studies and develop more and more skills, then obviously those high school and middle school things will kind of drop off the resume. But that way, at least they have a starting point, and we really try to teach them. We're like a pipeline. You come in as a first year, and as you grow as a sophomore, junior, and senior, there's different level of programmings that we offer that hopefully they'll take a part of to develop their journey. Next slide, you're kind of just basically just seeing a workshop. No, it didn't move. Sorry, I went on the wrong screen.
He's looking at his laptop, but
technology, I'm a little behind. So here's just a quick glance of kind of a sign that we put up. We just really want our students. We plaster these, in the residence halls, over in our student unions, all across the academic buildings. But just to show that we are busy, we are wanting to make sure that we are hitting all the time slots that students might be free. But a lot of these initial programs are resume labs where they can come in and meet with their peers or professionals and talk about resumes, cover letter skills, and so on. So this is basically just a quick snapshot of some of the workshops that we offer per month. Next, I'm going to a slide. This is called Handshake. Handshake is our university's platform that basically stores all of our partnerships with corporations and companies for job placements and internships. So every first year student that decides to come here to the University of Hartford is provided a Handshake account. When they come into the Career Studio, we help them populate it. Since they already have it, they just have to populate their account, tell us about their interest, and then what that does is it's like another Indeed, so to speak, or a Monster, where they can go in and find a lot of the opportunities locally, nationally, and even globally. We tend to pull a lot of regional partnerships, New York, Massachusetts, whether New York's in New England or not. That's a whole nother discussion. But we definitely have all of this listed on Handshake. So we want to make sure that our students take advantage of this platform while they're at the university. Next, this is Resume Bootcamp. We wanted to highlight this because it's our event is tomorrow. It's our first time running an 8-hour boot camp. And what a boot camp, and again, we created all these titles to try to really entice students to come to be like, what is Resume Bootcamp? Well, that sounds pretty interesting. What is Resume Bootcamp? Well, we actually, for tomorrow's boot camp, have 56 employers coming to the University of Hartford to meet with students that come during the day, and they bring their resume and they get a chance to interact with all of these different employers, not just ones that they're possibly interested in, but to get feedback on their resume and to hear different perspectives on how to create your resume. What should you leave on? What should you leave off? If you're going into the engineering field, here are some engineering employers that can give you some insight, but also, you know, we have some really exciting new partnerships, like the Hartford Symphony will be here tomorrow, that will be able to help some of our students navigate musical and art resumes and cover letters. So we try to cover the gamut, and it's a great way to build connections. We encourage our students, after they interact with their employer, go back and use their LinkedIn accounts, which again, I'll end with one of our posters. We help students create and build their LinkedIn accounts and give them some guidance, but make that connection. You know, it was really great meeting you at Resume Bootcamp. I hope, you know, to see you at another event soon. Or do you mind if I follow up with you at a later date for a possible internship? Because the folks that are investing their time here at the University of Hartford, or the folks that list on Handshake, are looking for University of Hartford students. They are invested in us. Like Handshake, one thing I forgot to mention on the last slide is anything listed on Handshake is those employers are specifically seeking University of Hartford, and they had to type in University of Hartford. They could have typed in other schools as well, but they specifically focused on UHart. So the same happens with the Resume Bootcamp. We definitely bring folks in that we have alums working at, such as Electric Boat, you know, the Hartford Symphony, the list goes on, 56 employers. A lot of those alums will be here. They'll also probably take time connecting to some of their friends, but they'll also be able to have that stronger connection, you know, because they've attended the University of Hartford. And one thing to remember, we have a really great long-standing relationship with our alums, and it's getting better every day. We have a growing alumni engagement office, which we're partnering with to do more and more programs with our alums. And again, a lot of those takeover days that I shared about in the beginning when I started talking, those are presented by alums too. Our alums hire our students, and that's something we want to definitely highlight, and we're really proud of. Okay. So also one of the additional programs we offer are this is spring career and internship fairs. We offer career and internship fairs. Some are based on industries and companies and themes, and some are just, we try to provide a little of everything for everybody that cross the 7 schools here at the University of Hartford. So please encourage your students to come. We tell them to dress to impress. This is possibly one of their first times to be in front of employers. So bring copies of your resumes. Come looking prepared. Dress for the job that you want. So we are definitely making sure that they're ready for these. And one thing that you will find on our website that I did not put in this slide is that we also prep students for boot camps and career fairs. So we offer sessions on what questions might you be asked? How do you answer a question? So we have a lot of those opportunities as well. So we don't just send your students into a career fair blinded. They'll be well prepared. They'll have a really professional looking resume and a lot of guidance. One other thing I didn't put a slide in that we actually have coming up this Thursday that we're starting to offer. We're offering etiquette dinners again in the Career Studio. We're partnering with our campus dining services to offer an etiquette dinner once a month to our seniors, just to put that finishing touch on our seniors before they graduate. We all know during interviewing or company functions, there's ways to act professionally. We want to make sure we're putting those finishing touches and that the students are aware. What happens? How do I interact if I'm, if a server puts down something in front of me that I don't like? How do I navigate that situation? What do I eat a very full burger in the middle of an interview? Well, that probably isn't the best choice. Because you're going to be having to think about all the things you're going to need to make yourself shine in front of these employers. So it's a great additional program that we like to offer that sometimes we don't think about, but we want to make sure our students, it's in the forefront of their mindset.
What do you do with an olive pit?
An olive pit, right?
Yeah, like that kind of stuff,
Exactly.
right? You don't think of.
Or like who's paying, and who's picking up the check, and how do you do that, and all those things. Some would assume that employers will take the check, but some employers expect to do Dutch and each pay for their own. So again, we'll really help these students navigate through a lot of those things, so they're not just sitting there, blindsided. And so here, as we're finishing kind of my presentation, is a program, Are You LinkedIn? Again, we partner with departments across our campus. If students come to these programs, they learn the basic skills on how to make your profile, but we talk about how to make your University of Hartford, but also your brand. Every student that comes in has a brand, and we want them to develop it over their 4 years. And so LinkedIn is part of that, and it's their online brand. So we really try to educate them. Listen, not just on LinkedIn, but all of your other social media, watch what you're posting. Employers are starting to hire outside agencies just to look on social media and look at what students are posting to make sure that they're hiring folks that align with their values and mission statement. So those are the things that you'll learn at Are You LinkedIn? Also, we provide professional headshots free of cost. It's built in. Bless you. It's built into tuitions. But also one great thing that one of my team members is working on, we're actually going to be offering ongoing headshots in our career studio once or twice a week for students that are in the Hart School of Music, Dance, and Theater that need to get a headshot and don't have the funds to do it. Well, we can set that up. So that's something we're actually starting to do this year for the first time. So we're looking forward to that. Goodness, I can't manage to hit the right button for the life of me. So this is my last slide. So basically, this is our information. Follow us on our social media. We basically have all of our social media, thanks to my social media coordinator, who might be in the room and you might hear from at a later date, Nate. But you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Snapchat. You can find us on Instagram, and we're all at UHart Career. It's where you can follow more. It's definitely where your students are following us. We encourage you to follow us as well. We always encourage parents just to help give that friendly nudge to get the students in our office. We've done our part trying to really help make the space look exciting and inviting, but we also could use extra hands to get the students in the door. And then if you click on the website, you can just explore and see all the great programs and the team in our office that we offer.
Thanks, Matt. So
Okay.
when you're thinking of the first year, I have an idea, but what are the checklist items all first-year students should do before they leave? He's taking a sip of water.
That's all right.
He's breathing.
I need to breathe. That's great, and everyone feel free to chime in if I'm missing some. And one thing I do want to touch on, and I'm sorry I'm going off topic, but you brought it up about setting yourself apart from other folks. One thing, I've had a lot of chance to be in community service here at the University of Hartford for many years, which I really loved, and working with students, giving back to the community. So one thing we really tell students is get involved, whether it's extracurricular activities, clubs and organizations. Community service is huge, because if you have 2 students graduating with a 3.8 degree, pretty much identical resumes, same classes, double minors, or whatever it is, but one person has a really amazing community service experience and has a lot of other opportunities listed, who would you hire? I would tell you, I want to hire someone that's going to make my company look good. If they're out there doing service and they're wearing the company's logo or t-shirt, that's helping us pass in and represent our company well. So those are the things we try to also share with our students, is how to make themselves stand out a little more. So back to the initial question, Dr. Nicklin, you asked was, what would in the first year, what would the checklist be? I would definitely say, come into the Career Studio, meet our team, start building and creating a master resume. It doesn't need to look anything special. I tell you, I can guarantee you, if you work and stay with us over your 4 years, by your senior year, your resume is going to look top notch. But your master resume, just get your information out there, because we all know if you have to pivot, you know, research and statistics show most humans have to switch their careers 4 times in their lifetime. So we wanted these students to learn their skills, how they can pivot if they need to. So we don't want to just do their resume for them. We've all been trained. We all know how to do resumes. We want to share those skills with the students, so that way when they graduate, they don't have to come back. Yes, we want them to come back as alums and be involved and use our services if they need it, but we want them to feel empowered as well and be able to do these things on their own. So come in, start building that resume, get involved with a club or organization, start following our social media, start getting in with our career peer mentors, and at least maybe take 1 or 2 assessments. Start thinking about where your career journey is going to be. We have maybe roughly 5,000 students. No journey's the same. And so we want folks to start thinking about that when they come in as first-year students. Did I hit everything?
I think so. Did you say handshake?
Well, handshake again. Yeah, populate your handshake account. We tell students, don't wait till your junior year. Just keep an eye out there, because every day things are getting posted. And sometimes you can get even a pre-internship or an externship prior to your junior or senior year, where you can just add a little more experience to your resume, and you're just making yourself that much more marketable for when you graduate.
And really the goal, you know, with starting the resume now is, even if it's only babysitting, again, teaching them about transferable skills, but also what you never want to happen is a senior come in and say, like, can you look at my resume for the first time?
That's right.
So we want that to be an ongoing process.
That's right, and it's a great point. And what we start is really trying to empower your students by, and we'll use babysitting since Dr. Nicklin just brought that up. They're like, oh, I don't even know, what do I put on my master resume as a first-year student? Well, you know, I've only done babysitting, and I've worked at Burger King, and I've done this part-time work, or I worked at Dairy King. Well, okay, that's great, because look at all those skills. Most parents just don't leave their kids with anybody, right? They're looking for trustworthy people. They're looking for people that can manage crisis. Who knows how to call, you know, manage and check temperatures. So there's a lot of things that we can build off of that. That shows that these are transferable skills. So that babysitting is an absolute great example, because it's something that a lot of high schoolers do is babysit. So we see a lot of that. And so we try to meet them where they're at, build them up, so that way when they're a senior, they're just getting started.
Great. Well, we have 5 students in the room, so we've been awfully quiet. Anyone want to chime in on anything related to study abroad, jobs, internship, career studio, anything?
I'll start since Matt's my boss. So I work in the career studio as a student worker and a social media coordinator, and so I can say from my job's perspective, if any students of any year want to come in, there's always a student or professional representative or both there that can help with literally any career question or any even campus question that you have. So I know, like last week, I helped a few people, and a few of my peers helped a few people come in with resume help or cover letter help or letter of intent for grad school, stuff along those lines. Like, the professionals that work in the office do a great job training us, at least I think so. And we try and help out the students because that's what we get paid to do. And then I'll talk about my personal experience. So the Career Center gave me information about a career fair that was going on in Hartford. Yeah, it was a career fair in Hartford for all the Hartford insurance companies were meeting up together in the Marriott Hartford, like what is it? Like presentation
center.
Yeah, convention center. And they were just having a career fair, and so my job was actually just to push it out on social media, and so I did, and I posted the flyers and info that we had. But then my mom saw the post on social media because she follows it, and she was like, Nate, you have to go to this. And so she nudged me a little bit, and I ended up going. And I met with travelers there, and the guy that I met was actually the hiring manager for the internship that I was interested in. And he was like, why haven't you applied yet? Apply here and email me when you do. And just having that face-to-face interaction, which was set up through the Career Center, and I got the internship through that. So, like he set me up with the interview like there. So stuff like that, I encourage as parents, I'm sure you guys already do, like pushing students to attend these events, because the stuff that we hold and the stuff that we promote, it's not just to save face or anything like that. Like these are events where students are getting hired. Like I hope that I can be an example to that, because I want to see the same thing happen. Because like I was saying that it was just luck that I happened to show up that day, but you can kind of control your luck, I guess, in a way, or try and get that luck to work for you if you just show up to as many things as possible. And it might not work out the first 10 things that you show up to, the first 10 resume boot camps or career fairs or whatever, but on the 11th it might. So that's my inspirational spiel.
And
Well
what's your name,
sorry.
major, year?
So my name's Nate Carr. I'm a junior, and I'm in economics, Bachelor of Arts with, yeah, I mean, that's the important parts, I guess.
Thank you.
I actually had to go off of Nate's point about like keep on going to these things. So like the first couple of career fairs, my first years here, most of the people were looking for like upperclassmen and stuff. So when I went this past semester in the fall, I like had that experience like talking face to face with employers at these career fairs and at these events, like mock interviews and resume boot camps, so that when I finally was in that position, I ended up talking to a company that I have a full-time offer with now. So it definitely, there's value in like going to these events.
Name your major?
Architecture and civil engineering. And my name is Liam.
Year?
And I'm a senior.
Okay, thank you.
And also with the resume boot camps, so like a resume is kind of like a living document for me. Like it's been growing and growing. So every resume boot camp that I've attended, it gets better and better. So definitely. And the resume boot camp tomorrow, I might go to just because there's another event on Friday. So I'm on my resume. Even though I have a full-time offer, you never know.
Yeah, that's true. Always good to know your worth, right? Awesome.
Hi everyone, it's Ivana. I've been lucky enough, I've done about 4 internships in my time at the university. The first one, I got an internship my freshman year through a resume boot camp. I interned at the Connecticut Office of the Arts, where I worked with the disability coordinator, and we worked to make art museums in the greater Hartford area more accessible. And as a first year student, I really wasn't sure what I was doing, but it was during that internship that I kind of realized that I had a passion for policy making, which has actually, now looking 4 years later, has really like trickled into my career. As for resumes, so I have 2 separate resumes. I'm a chemistry and a political science major. So if I'm applying to a hard science position, I have a resume that is just my lab work and like my science resume. I have a political science one that just focuses on what I've done as a politics major. Then I have a third resume, which is a mix of science policy. And today, actually, I had an interview for a job, full-time, scary adult job. And throughout the entire interview, all I referenced were my internships. It was unbelievable because I was expecting them to ask about my academic achievements and what I've done. And the first question they asked me was, name a time when you had to learn a skill at a work or an internship. And the first thing that came to my mind was I interned at an environmental laboratory where I had to learn how to do different new techniques within a week. And I think I was shocked at how many of the questions actually were just about internships. And the other questions they asked were about community engagement. And I immediately was like, oh, study abroad. This is a time when I was in a foreign country. I worked with faculty and staff. So these things might all kind of seem like you're doing them sporadically your freshman, sophomore, junior year. But when it comes time to apply for a job or for graduate schools, it's very, very handy. And you learn a lot of different skills that you can apply for them.
I can add on just a little bit. I guess my internship experience was a little bit different than maybe some. I actually received an internship this past summer through a faculty member. So the program director of the acoustics program, Dr. Bob Selmer, knows so many alums. He's been a professor here for 37 years, so he knows lots of people. So I was interested in interning at General Dynamics Electric Boat over the summer. I actually met someone at a career fair. He's from the same hometown as me, went to the same middle school as me. He now lives down next to the shoreline where Electric Boat is. But we kind of got talking, him, Dr. Bob, and then a couple of alums actually got me the internship this summer. I enjoyed the internship so much that I actually just accepted a full-time job with Electric Boat for starting this summer full-time. And without the internship experience, I would not have been able to see myself at the company. That's what something's really cool. One thing that is really cool about internship is that you can see if you like something or if you don't like something. I interned going into junior year at a company that produced stepper motors and linear actuators. And it was more mechanical than acoustics. And I realized that I didn't want to go into manufacturing because I did not like it at all. And it was all manufacturing and making sure the processes were timed correctly and the people on the assembly floor were doing certain tasks in the proper order and things like that. That's something I learned I did not want to do. So internships are a way to just explore different parts of the field that you could be going into as well, to see which parts you would really like to see yourself in down the road.
Well, I went back to the slide with everybody's name. A lot of information was given tonight. So we've got the International Center and Study Abroad. You can search for that in the search bar on the UHart website to get all the events and more information. If your student is just even a little interested, we encourage them to go in and have a conversation. Their office is located on the 3rd floor of GSU, and it's fully staffed, so any member of the team would be happy to chat with them. So a question came up about the freshman London experience requiring an essay.
Sure. So we did. So our deadline was yesterday, but we do have a few spots left. If your student has not yet applied, there's no essay to apply, but yes, the question, we do offer additional scholarships with first year London in particular. Any first year student who has a 3.0 GPA and has completed 30 credits by the time of travel, which is late May, is automatically guaranteed $1,000 scholarship. There's also funding on top of that would require the essay that you're alluding to. And again, when you go to the Study Abroad website at hartford.edu, it will list the scholarship criteria for that essay. And writing the one essay will consider the student for all of our options.
Jamie said Yvonne is a great role model. All of these students are great role models. Our Division of Student Success has been, trying to do a lot for the student experience, but we wouldn't be able to do it without the students in SGA helping and partnering with us, because, we are a bunch of adults that sit around a room and try to figure out, well, what do 18-year-olds want? And then we say, well, why don't we ask the students? And they've been great partners for us in everything we're trying to accomplish. So, I put the names back up here because I'm sure if you reached out to any of these students, they'd be more than happy to, answer your questions as well. Sometimes it's great to get some perspective from someone who's experienced it recently. I like to think I experienced it recently, but now decades have gone by, and I'm closer in age to the parents than I am to the students. So you know, it's nice to get the perspective of those that are going through it and closer in age. So, any other questions? Give you some time to throw anything in the chat bar. You know, we're really working hard right now in the Center for Student Success to work on the transition from the first year advisors to the colleges. So all of your students will be, or probably have already received a faculty advisor. So they'll be meeting with their first year advisor in the Center for Student Success this spring. They'll remain their advisor through the summer, and every college kind of has a unique approach to how they're onboarding and welcoming the students into the college with their faculty advisor. But your students are always welcome to come back to the Center for Student Success and go to their first year advisor. You know, we're not closing the door on them. And we're doing a lot of programming and activities to kind of help with that transition to get them ready for next year. How long are the summer study abroad programs generally?
So the summer study abroad varies widely. It can be a week, typically with one of our faculty members, and those, again, typically run late May, early June. It can be up to 12 weeks if a student's doing an internship, or research, or language immersion. So it kind of runs the whole gamut. Students are eligible to bring back academic credit. They would work with our office for that. So again, I would say the average is probably 3 weeks, but we've got anywhere from a week up to the full summer.
So I'm just gonna jump in here real quick because I definitely wanted to touch on study abroad, specifically for like engineering majors, nursing majors, and the majors that would be a little more difficult for a student to find a place to study abroad. So my name is Lucas. I'm a junior in mechanical engineering. And I actually was in New Zealand last semester for a full semester. And it was like absolutely amazing experience.
You came back.
Yeah.
From New Zealand.
Surprise.
Wow.
Surprise. Yeah, my mom told me. She brought a boat over. But it was absolutely amazing, life-changing. I definitely grew a lot as a person, not only scholastically, but also emotionally, physically, mentally, just in general. And now, because of what I've done, like I currently came back and I have an internship during the school year. And I'm the president of my fraternity, and all of the experiences that I had abroad kind of benefited what I'm doing now, and it's helping me kind of get my life together and get it figured out and really become that person that I want to become. I just want to say that even if it seems hard to study abroad, and if you really want to do it, then push for it, because our study abroad office and international studies office, even though it's small, they will work very hard with you to make sure that you get that opportunity if you want it. I know I was having a lot of difficulties because the classes for engineering are very structured, so there are certain classes that you have to take. Luckily, I came in with some credits, so I was able to kind of move around my schedule, and now I'm like 1 or 2 classes behind, but I'm going to be able to make those up over the next semesters. And I don't even think I'm going to have to take a summer course along with that either. So if that's something you want to do and your student wants to do, I do know there are certain members in our faculty who will push against it because they don't like the thought of you going somewhere else to learn the material differently. But in all honesty, getting an education in a different country allows you to see and learn things differently, and that'll improve your learning skills when you get back. And it's just such an incredible experience, and just because of what your major is, that shouldn't take away from you being able to experience a different country, from a semester to a summer program to a couple week-long study abroad.
All right, I'd say to jump in on the aspect with the career studio and the like. I know everybody in here is like very impressive. It sounds like everybody, takes initiative and really gets after what they're going for. What's nice is that the people working with career services are very accommodating to, various levels of like where you are in your professional development process. I know when I was a freshman, I showed up to career services in like March, and I said, all right, let's do it. Let's get me an internship. And, they didn't laugh at me, but it was laughable to think I could just get an internship in March. And what was nice was that they walked me through the whole process of, okay, this is what you need to do next fall to get yourself in a position to have an internship next summer. And, I didn't want to get on LinkedIn. It was like feeding me spinach or something like that. But eventually what happened was, I worked with the people there to really kind of get my LinkedIn in proper shape, as well as my resume. I've been to multiple resume boot camps and have gotten amazing advice from people who work in various industries. And like I said, the career services people have played a really key role in kind of getting me in great shape in terms of professional development. And that's led to, 2 internships since that conversation when I was a freshman, and, job offers and the like. So I can't speak highly enough of the work that's going on there.
Great. Well, thank you. And thanks everybody for attending tonight. I want to be respectful of your time. If you're like me, you're probably getting ready for bed, and the students are probably getting ready to go do a lot of work. So any follow-up questions, of course, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We look forward to working with you and your students. So have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
And I
Stop sharing this.